When carrying out projects, we gather a lot of data, whether it's regarding budgets, tasks, risks, or the projects themselves. To easily present such data or find information that particularly interests us, we use reports in our system. Access to this tab will be available to users with a full license. On the screen, you can see the reports available in the system, which can be created through the tab on the left-hand side. As you can see, I have created some reports that are currently visible only to me. Other users cannot access them unless I share a report with a specific person. The types of reports we can create depend on the access rights granted to us in the system. For example, to generate project-related reports in the system, we must either have the project administrator permission, referred to as management on the permissions list, or hold system administrator rights. Within the system, we can create individual reports as shown here, or organize entire groups of reports. For instance, in my case, budget reports. Let's create a new report together. When I click on New Report, I have the option to choose what kind of report I want to create. And so, a report for projects will concern the projects we have in the system. The report on tasks and milestones will refer to the project schedules and these specific elements. We can also create reports on budgets, risks, products, or changes compared to baseline plans. It's worth remembering that the information shown in a given report will depend on the projects we have access to. Let's imagine a situation where we have access to 3 projects as the managers of this project. In this case, if I create a report concerning tasks or milestones, the result will be determined by which projects I have access to. In this case, it will be a result showing only those 3 projects to which I have access. If I wanted to create a report for all projects in my organization, I would need to have admin access to all projects or be a system administrator. Let's start by creating a report for the projects. Project reports display information and various details related to project attributes, such as stage, category, or other project fields. When I click Add, I will be able to apply filters. The screen you see now is the primary way to filter data in our system when creating reports. Filtering is based on logical queries. By default, the first condition suggested is project stage equals pending. However, I can certainly remove this condition. In this case, I will have a list of all projects that I have in the organization. Let's see what it looks like. As you can see, I can see here all the projects that I have in the organization with detailed data, which I can choose appropriately, which elements I would like to see by adjusting the columns. The data displayed in the report columns can be customized so that I see only the information most relevant to me. This does not change the core report query. It only allows us to add or remove additional columns with specific details. Let's assume I am not interested in the details currently shown, but instead I would like to add information about the key supplier and the project category. Once I click Save, the new view will automatically adjust to my query. This is the complete list of all my projects, but we also have a Filters tab that allows us to manage these queries better. And so, I can also create queries that are a bit more complicated. Let's assume I add a new rule. I would like my project stage to be different from idea, meaning all other projects than those that are merely project ideas and those that have a priority other than low. So this query will show me all the projects that are not ideas and will have a medium or high priority. When I click Filter, this query returns a report. If I want to work with the report data outside the system, I can easily export it. The data visible in the saved view will be exported to Excel in the same layout I configured in the system. This can be especially useful for budget reports, for example, when sharing them with the finance or analysis department, which may need to perform more complex calculations or operations on the data. If I save such a report in the system, I can assign it a name. I will name my report project based on priority, and I also have the option to assign it to a group. For now, the only group I have created in the system is budget reports, so in a moment we will create a new group. I clicked Save on this query. As a report with the result of this query, which we see here, it is saved. This means that every time I open such a report from my list of reports, the data I will see here will update depending on the changes that have occurred in our system. So, if, for example, the priority of one of these projects changes, and as we remember, priority is one of the filters used to build this report, the report results will also change accordingly. So if the priority of any of these projects changed to low, the data would automatically update in the report, and such a project wouldn't show up on my list. I can display my reports in a way other than the visible table. I can go to the Summary tab, and for a large part of the reports in my system, I am able to create graphical reports. I talk about graphic reports in another video, which I highly recommend watching. They are a simple and effective way to present data in the system. I would just like to point out that in this case, I can add graphic elements, charts, or different kinds of lists or counters, depending on what data appeared in the given report. Let's go back for a moment to our list of reports. Since I already have a group of budget reports, I will now create a group for all reports that in some way concern the project condition or status. I added a name, and after clicking Add, such a group of reports appears here. As we can see, for now, we don't have any report assigned to such a group. I will return to my report that I created, and I can assign such a report to the group by clicking Save As and selecting Project Data Reports. After clicking Save, when I return to my list of projects, I see that this report has appeared under the category we just created. This allows us to organize our reports and build a structured report library by category or function. Let's go back to the filters in our report. As you can see, there are two options when selecting query conditions. The first is AND, the second is OR. In the case of AND, it will show us all the data that meets both conditions. In this case, it must be project stage not equal to idea and priority not equal to low. If I click OR, the system will return data where either the project is not equal to idea or the project priority is not equal to low. That is, at least one of these conditions must be met to be included in the report. As you can see, we currently have 13 results. When I click Filter, there will automatically be more of them, as the system will show me projects for which the query project stage not equal to idea or priority not equal to low will be true. Apart from creating individual rules, I am also able to create an entire set of rules, and then the AND and OR relationships will apply to these groups. Let me delete my query and add two groups of queries. As you can see, in the meantime, I have added two groups for my reports. The first group of queries tells us that it wants to see project stage not equal to idea. Next, the condition is not equal to on track, and this query must also satisfy another set of conditions, where the first criterion is priority equal to high or project category equal to strategic. I will save this filter, and as you can see, a few reports meet these conditions. If we go back for a moment to my rules and to what data can be used to filter my projects, I see that there are quite a lot of them. I will not discuss all of them at this moment. However, I would like to encourage you to think about what data you would like to extract in your system and try to generate a similar report yourself. Let's move on to the next example of a report, a task report. After clicking Add, I set the rules for my query, which will display a list of tasks filtered using logical queries. I created a query that will show all tasks in projects whose project stage is in progress. Tasks with an end date earlier than today, whose status is incomplete. Thus, I will see all tasks that are overdue. This list will include tasks from all projects to which I have access. I click Filter and I see a list of overdue tasks. In the Columns tab, I can further organize this view, for example, by removing the Progress column and adding information about duration and department. These options to add new columns are available in all reports and significantly facilitate data presentation. When I click Save, I see that this information appears. Of course, after clicking on the header of my table, I can sort this data by the appropriate values. My report has been saved, and I would like to show you a few sample reports regarding the budget. I already have several such reports, and I will show you some simple query criteria in these reports. How can we use a report to display data related to our budget? The first one, expenses to be settled from today, shows all expenses with a date greater than today. This means all the expenses I have to incur in the future, starting from today. If I click Filter, I see that I have a whole list of such expenses with the given total, project name, and status, whether it is a forecast or actual cost, along with the given date. Of course, I can also modify this view accordingly. Let's say I want to see the name, then the project, and then the amount. When I click Save, this view automatically adjusts, and let's assume I want to sort this data by size, starting from the largest to the smallest. Another example of a report is forecast cost in the production department. Let's see what options are available here. As we can see, the status should equal forecast, type, equal expenses, and the cost center assigned to the given expense should equal production. When I click Save, this list updates, and I see all the information that interests me. As you can see, in FlexiProject, we are able to create reports in a very intuitive way that will show us the data we are interested in. I would like to encourage you, after watching this video, to go to the Reports tab yourself and created some reports that we went through in this video to see what results such reports would show. As always, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. If you have any questions, feel free to write to our support. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you fruitful work in the FlexiProject system.